Hello everyone, and welcome back to Optima, home of the Optima APOS series product group. In this video, we are going to look at the keyboard's maintenance module right after this. Everything we have looked at in the previous modules will now allow us to create a keyboard. This keyboard or keyboards can be sent to our APOS devices so that the clerks can access all the departments, products, corrections, tenders, and all other functions created by you. Before being allowed to create keys that will be linked to your department, products, and functions, you must create a keyboard that will group all of your keys. You must enter a caption and select the keyboard type for each of your keyboards, because each APOS type has a different screen size and resolution. Specifying the APOS type will allow PC Prog to build a layout screen that will closely resemble the actual layout of your APOS. For example, setting the keyboard type to AP01 will provide you with a layout screen that is in portrait mode and approximately 720 pixels wide by 1280 pixels in height, while the AP05 will provide you with a landscape layout that is 1920 pixels wide by 1080 pixels in height. You may switch the APOS type on an existing keyboard, and PC Prog will attempt to transpose and resize the existing keys so that they fit on the new layout. But you may need to manually adjust each key and save the changes so that the key layout matches the keyboard type. You may also select the background color of the keyboard by selecting a color from the color palette. Placing the mouse cursor over each color will display the color name. The last option on the keyboard maintenance window is the default keyboard. You must specify a default keyboard for each keyboard type. You may have multiple keyboards defined for a specific APOS type, but you must define one of them as the default. The default keyboard will be the initial keyboard displayed on your APOS device when the clerk presses the register button on the GoPause Home menu, or when the register is initially displayed. Double-clicking on the keyboard will display the keys maintenance window. The four navigation buttons at the top left allow you to navigate or move through the list of defined keys. Clicking on one of the four buttons will display the first, previous, next, and last key in the list sorted by key ID. The selected key will come to the forefront of the key layout, and the selected key will start to blink. The name and properties of the key will be displayed in the data entry area. You may also click directly on one of the keys to select it. Let's have a look at each of the fields in the data entry area. The keyboard field displays the keyboard ID and keyboard name. The key field displays the name of the selected key on the keyboard. The entered text will be displayed as the key caption. Modifications to the key name will be updated on the key once you tab off the field or click on another field. Use the Enter key to wrap the text on the next line and center the caption on the key. If the default radio button is selected, the key caption will default to the chosen function name. If you wish to keep the name entered regardless of the chosen function, select the Fixed Radio button. Just be aware that if you do select Fix, you may end up with a mismatch between the caption of the key and the actual function being performed when the clerk presses on the key. The key type will display a list of all available key types supported on GoPause. The key type and function are basically a list of all entries we've created in each of the modules we've discussed so far. For example, the corrections type refers to the corrections module, and the correction function refers to the entries we created in the correction module. Linking a key to one of the corrections will perform the appropriate action when the clerk presses on the register key. In this case, the delete correction, which will remove any highlighted line items from the current transaction. Please note that if we do not have any entries created for a particular module, then the module will not be included in the list of supported functions. Please see the key types in the help documentation for a complete list of supported types. Let's have a closer look at each of these types and corresponding functions. Blank. If chosen, no function will be linked to the key. You may enter a caption but when the key is pressed, no action will be performed. Fixed function. You may select any one of the supported fixed functions. The numbers 0 through 9 allows the clerk to enter the corresponding numerical value by pressing on the key. The double 0 will display 00. Decimal point allows you to enter decimal values when entering currency amounts. It is also used when entering table and seats using the dotted notation. Clear clears the display screen once the transaction has been completed. Enter completes the current action. Multiply allows you to sell multiples of one item at once. In a macro, this function may also be used to repeat the last entry made. PLU allows you to manually enter the product ID of the item being sold. User allows you to switch users. Subtotal calculates and displays the subtotal of the transaction. Copy reprints the receipt of the last transaction entered. Receipt on off turns the printing of receipts on or off. The printer icon displayed at the top of the unit will turn red when the receipt printing has been turned off, and green when the receipt printing has been turned on. Alternatively, the user may press the printer icon directly to turn the receipt printer on or off without the need to program a key. Cash declaration allows you to specify the amount on hand for each tender. Price check allows you to verify the price of an item without a sale. When pressed, a PC icon will be displayed at the top of the APOS to indicate that you are currently in price check mode. Hold allows you to pause the current transaction and start a new transaction. Held transactions may be recalled and completed or cancelled. You may only place one transaction on hold at a time. Tenders provides a pop-up of all defined tenders. Corrections provides a pop-up of all defined corrections, as does discounts and surcharges. Tax Shift 1 enables or disables the charging of tax number 1. On GoPause, pressing a tax shift key will disable the corresponding tax and display a tax number disabled message. A red T # icon will also be displayed at the top of the APOS to indicate that you are in tax shift mode. Pressing the same tax shift key when the tax has already been disabled will re-enable the tax and display a tax number active. The red T # will also be removed from the top of the APOS to indicate that you are no longer in the tax shift mode. Tax shifts will be applied to all items within the current transaction. Tax shift 2 enables or disables the charging of tax 2. Tax shift 3 enables and disables the charging of tax number 3. Price override allows you to enter a price and perform a one-time override of the price entered in the product maintenance window. Tip amount allows you to enter a tip amount. Tip percentage allows you to enter a tip percentage. Food stamp subtotal will total up all the items in the transaction without tax that have the food stamp option enabled. Pack will add up to 2 digits to the front of a scanned barcode. On GoPause, pressing 1, 2, pack before scanning a barcode will add a 12 to the scanned SKU and use this new SKU to look up the product and price. Permanent price override allows you to override and update the current price entered in the product maintenance screen. Tare Weight allows you to manually enter the tare weight of a scalable product. Entering the weight and pressing on the Tare Weight fix function will display a T plus weight entered plus base weight unit at the top of the APOS to indicate that you are currently in Tare Weight mode. Selling a scalable product will deduct the tare weight from the total weight to calculate the price. To clear the tare weight, press on the Tare Weight fixed function key. To enter a new tare, enter the weight and press on the Tare Weight fixed function key. Seat. When working with a table, pressing on seat will display a list of all open seats as well as an option to add a seat on the current table. Press on the seat you wish to work with, or press on the next available seat number, New Seat, to add a seat to the current table. Pressing anywhere outside the pop-up window will close the window and cancel the change of seat. When working with a table, you may also access a seat by entering the seat number and then pressing on the seat function. In other words, seat number plus the seat function. If the seat does not exist, a new seat will be created for the current table. You may also access a specific table and seat by using the dotted notation. In other words, table number dot seat number. If the table does not exist, a new table and seat will be created. If the seat does not exist for the specified table, a new seat will be created. The PLU type allows you to link the key to any of the defined products via the PLU number. All products defined in the product maintenance window will be displayed. Right-clicking on the drop-down list will sort the list either alphabetically by caption or numerically by ID. You may also type the first letter of the item you are looking for. Typing C brings us to the first product beginning with C. Typing W brings us to wings. The department type allows you to link the key to any of the defined departments. And so on for each of the modules where you have at least one entry defined. The function or action executed by GoPause will be determined by the value linked to the key and the options and settings enabled for the linked value. For example, on GoPause, pressing on the appetizers department will pop up a PLU list of all products defined for the appetizers department, but only if the PLU list function option has been enabled for the department. Or entering a dollar amount and then pressing the department key will perform an open department sale if the open department option has been enabled. For more information on the GoPause register, check out the APOS help documentation found on our website. Or you can also download this help documentation in PDF format from our download portal. The text size can be any integer value from 6 to 72. The caption will be displayed on the key using the entered font size. The text color will also control the color of the caption of the key. Select one of the colors from the color palette. Hovering your mouse cursor over a color will display the color name. Similarly, the keyboard color may also be set to help group your keys and help the clerk to read the caption by choosing a complementary color. The key position and key size provide you with the XY coordinates of the selected key as well as the height and width. You may enter the XY coordinates of the top left corner of the key or change the height and width of the selected key. However, the key must remain within the boundaries of the layout area. You may also reposition and resize the selected key by using your mouse. Moving the selected key will automatically display the XY coordinates of the key as it is repositioned. Resizing the key will also display the height and width as it is resized. The last field in the data entry area is the key type. Each key in your layout may either display the caption of the key or an image used to represent the function of the key. When graphic is chosen from the drop-down list, the graphic library maintenance module will be displayed to allow you to select the image you wish to display on the key. The plus icon, insert graphic, and minus icon, delete graphic, will also be enabled, allowing you to insert or delete the image from the key. Select the image you want displayed on your key by double-clicking on the desired image or row. When an image is displayed on a key, double-clicking on the key will also open up the graphic library. We also have the usual delete, insert, and duplicate buttons on the bottom left. Clicking on the plus or pressing insert on your computer keyboard will add a new key to the layout. Clicking on the minus or pressing the delete key on your keyboard will remove the selected key. Clicking on the duplicate key or pressing Ctrl D on your computer keyboard will duplicate the selected key and insert it into your layout area. The two additional buttons are Copy to Clipboard or Ctrl C and Paste from Clipboard or Ctrl V. The Paste from Clipboard will only be enabled once you have copied one or more keys to the clipboard. We will come back to these two buttons later when we discuss multi-selections and copying keys from one keyboard to another. But first, I want to show you how to use the grid and grid lines on the layout area. The grid size drop-down allows you to select the grid size you wish to work with, depending if the layout is in portrait or landscape mode. If empty keyboard is chosen, no grid is displayed, and the grid lines and snap to grid options are not available. Please note that the grid lines are not part of the keyboard and will not be displayed on the APOS. The grid lines are there to help you align your keys. Changing the grid size will not affect the layout of existing keys. The selected grid size, which is saved as a user preference, does have an impact when creating new keyboards. When inserting a new keyboard, if a non-empty grid size is chosen, blank keys will automatically be inserted into the layout, one key per cell. Let me show you that with a 4x6 grid. The new keyboard was created with 4x6 keys. Selecting empty keyboard before inserting a new keyboard will not create any blank keys, and all keys must be inserted manually or copied from another keyboard. If the grid lines is enabled, you may also enable or disable the snap to grid option. Enabling the snap to grid will cause the key to snap to the nearest grid line when moving or resizing the key. Double-clicking on the key will expand or shrink the key to fit the nearest grid cell or cells. If Snap to Grid is disabled, you are allowed to resize or move a key to any position within the layout area. Again, if Snap to Grid is enabled, double-clicking on the key will expand or shrink the key to the nearest grid line. You are allowed to resize the keys maintenance window based on your configuration of monitors or monitors. This may stretch and distort the view and orientation of your keyboard. So if you want to see what your keyboard will look like displayed on your APOS, click on the Keyboard Preview. Hovering your cursor over each of the defined keys will display the key type and function. Let's close this window and go back to our key layout area. Before a key can be moved or resized, it must first be selected. To select a key, you must click directly on the key when the pointer is above the highlighted key or by using the navigation buttons. The selected key will come to the forefront and start blinking. The key's name and current settings will be displayed in the data entry section. When the cursor is positioned above the selected key, the mouse cursor will change from the arrow icon to a hand icon. To move the key, click and drag the mouse when the hand is directly above it. The key will be dropped when you release the mouse button. When Snap to Grid option is enabled, the key position will snap to the nearest grid line. When disabled, the key will remain positioned where you drop it. To resize the selected key, click and drag the mouse when the cursor is above any of the key's borders. The cursor will change to a double-headed arrow indicating the direction of motion. When the Snap to Grid option is enabled, the key's border will snap to the nearest grid line. Deselecting this option or removing the grid lines will allow you to resize the key to any height or width. You may also perform multi-selections by pressing and holding the Control key on your computer keyboard. First, select the primary key, and then Control-click on the key you want to add to the selection. A small square with a check mark will be displayed at the top left corner of each key in the selection. Control-click on a key that is already selected to remove it from your selection. When in multi-select mode, all edits, key sizing, or movement made to the primary key will be applied to all keys in the selection. The alignment keys will also be enabled, allowing you to align left, center, right, top, middle, and bottom, as well as making the keys the same width, the same height, or the same size. You may also copy the selected keys to the clipboard and then paste them on any of your keyboards. Pressing on Delete will delete all selected keys. Don't forget, the undo will undo the last change. Redo will reperform what was undone. The contents of the clipboard will persist when you close the Keys Maintenance window. This will allow you to paste what was copied into the clipboard onto any of your keyboards. Please be aware that each time you paste a clipboard content onto one of your keyboards, the keys will be pasted with the same size and same position as the copied keys. This means that if you click on paste more than once, the keys will be overlaid. It is always preferable to paste the clipboard on an empty keyboard or moved to an empty area as a group while still in multi-select mode. As well as being allowed to copy your keys from one keyboard to another using the clipboard, you can also export one or more of your keyboards to an export file and then import the saved keyboard or keyboards into the same or a different program. To do this, you must first select the keyboard or keyboards you wish to export and then click on the Keyboard Export button. This will open the Save As File dialog. Type in the file name and navigate to the location where you want to save the keyboard export file. Click on the Cancel button to cancel the export, or click on the Save. A message will be displayed when completed, indicating whether the export was successful or not. Once you have exported your keyboard or keyboards, you may import the file into the same or a different program. Click on the Keyboard Import button to open the Open File dialog. Select the file you want to import and click on the Open button. This will verify that you have selected a valid OSI keyboard export file, and if valid, PC Prog will insert each of the keyboards contained in the file. All keys associated with each keyboard will also be inserted. If a key is linked to a reference that is not part of the current program, the key caption will be set to blank. Let's see what happens if I import this keyboard into a different program. Again, if a key is linked to a reference that is not part of the current program, the key caption will be set to blank. You will need to correct all invalid references by clicking on each blank key and relinking the key to a valid reference within the existing program. Well, that is it for now, but don't forget that you can always reference the help documentation by pressing on F1 or look at some existing demo programs available to you on the dealer portal to get a feel on how to program your keyboards. Stay tuned, and in the next video we will look at each of the setting options available to you in the Settings Maintenance module.
Why don't you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notified as soon as we upload any new videos. Also, if you want to learn more about the Optima APOS series line of products or need any POS accessories such as barcode scanners, printers, Windows PC POS terminals, and more, visit www.optimagopos.ca. Again, that's www.optimagopos.ca. I'm Brandon from Optima, and I'll see you again.